So in our last class, we have discussed about the diastereoselective epoxidation and the sharpless asymmetric epoxidation. So basically today you can see the topic is the asymmetric reduction by using the metal hydrides. Now before starting with the reactions, let us focus some important terms in this reaction pathway. So in this case, the metal hydrides generally acts as a reducing agent, and the common example is the lithium aluminum hydride, the sodium borohydride, zinc borohydride. These are the examples of the commonly used metal hydrides, and generally these metal hydrides are used for the reduction of the carbonyl groups, that means either ketone or aldehyde. Now here first we have to focus that after completion of the reaction, what will be the scenario of the product. That means mainly in this case, in this asymmetric reaction, we concerned about the stereochemistry of the substrate as well as the product. So before starting with that, let us focus the general formula of the carbonyl. So we know this is the general formula of the carbonyl. For the aldehyde, R equals to hydrogen, and for the ketone, not equals to the hydrogen. And you know the hybridization of this center is sp2, and it is also sp2 hybridized. So the geometry is basically planar. Now you know the term that is the topicity. Basically topicity is the stereochemical relationship in between the substituent and the structure in which it is attached. So basically generally we mean there are few terms like homotopic, enantiotopic, diastereotopic. Or we can split it in homotopic or heterotopic. Generally the enantiotopic and diastereotopic is the example of the or is the class of the heterotopicity. So I am not discussing about the topicity here. I mentioned the topic relationship in not in between the substituent but in between the two phases. Why the two phases? Why I will consider this? Because generally you can see that this carbonyl is planar in geometry. So if this is the planar in geometry, this will reside in the plane of this whiteboard. Now you can see in this plane, this is the front face, and behind the plane it is the backward face. So that means there are two faces. Now how you will designate, how you will calculate the, not only calculate, the designate the two faces in terms of the topicity. Basically for a specific example like acetophenone, here first we designate the atoms or the substituents with respect to the CIP rule. That means we are numbering according to the priority order of the substituents as well as the atoms. So here this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. So you can see as a viewer from the front side, you can see this rotation is anti-clockwise rotation by these substituents. Now here this molecule is achiral because there is plane of symmetry. So if plane of symmetry retains, there is no questions of the chirality. So no center of chirality is there. But we can consider according to the, with respect to the face, we can designate in terms of the topicity. Now here you can see that from the front face, these substituents are arranged as the anti-clockwise fashion. So the front face or the anti-clockwise face is designated as C face or psi face. So that means it is for the anti-clockwise rotation. And similarly, the opposite face, that means the backward side of this whiteboard. If one viewer see the molecule from the back side of the whiteboard, he or she will see like this way. This is the front side view and this is the backward side view. And here numbering 1, 2, 3, this numbering will remain fixed. And here you can see the rotation is 1, 2, 3 in this phase. The arrangement of the substituents is 1, 2, 3. So this is the clockwise. So the backward phase is designated as the re phase. That means the rotation of the substituents in the phase, if it is clockwise, then it is designated as re, and if it is anti-clockwise, it is designated as z. Simple, in the center of chirality, if it is clockwise rotation, we consider as r, and anti-clockwise consider as s. But as it is the with respect to the plane, so the designation will be the z or re. And you know, if one configuration of a chiral center is r and another configuration is s, that means they are mirror image with each other. So that means the relationship between these two isomer is enantiomer. So similarly, we will apply the same concept here. In this case, you can see this is anti-clockwise fashion, the front face here, and the backward face is clockwise fashion. So that means they are mirror image with each other, and these are super non-imposable mirror image. So there we can consider now the relation between the two faces. They are basically the mirror image, that means enantiotopic. If both the faces are not enantiotopic, that means are not the mirror image with each other, then they are designated as the diastereotopic. And if the both faces are identical, then they will termed as the homotopic. Okay. So in this case, we can show the molecule in this way also. Say if I am considering that this phenyl ring is towards the viewer here, and this methyl is away from the viewer. So we have put the molecule in such a fashion that this C double bond O now is in the plane of the whiteboard, and this is above the plane, that means towards the viewer, and this is below the plane, that means away from the viewer. Numbering will be the same, 1, 2, 3. Now you are the viewer, this is one face and this is another face. So from the right hand side, when you are looking at the molecule, you can see the substituents in this phase like this fashion. 1, 2 will be in the left hand side and 3 will be in the right hand side. So the rotation is anti-clockwise rotation. So that means this right hand side with respect to the viewer, this is the Z phase. Similarly, if you are the viewer looking from the left hand side, you can see the numbering of the substituents like this way. 1, 2 now is in the right hand side, 3 in the left hand side, and the rotation is clockwise rotation. So this phase is designated as re. And now you can see both the phases are super non-imposable, but they are mirror image with each other. So that means these two phases are designated as enantiotopic. Or in another words, you can say that the two phases is enantiotopic is like this way, that in this case this molecule is planar in geometry, and you can see if we add some nucleophile here, it can be added either from this side or it can be added from this side. So by addition of some nucleophile, this is basically the nucleophilic addition reaction, because it is the electrophilic center of the electrophilic carbon. So that means nucleophilic is the electron rich species, it will attack to the electron deficient center. So here, if the nucleophile attacks here, it can form the geometry like this. So that means nucleophile O minus PH CH3. And if the nucleophile attacks from the left hand side, this is the right hand side, and this is the left hand side. If the nucleophiles attack from the left hand side, you will get the structure O minus PH CH3. Now here you can see that both are the mirror image with respect to each other. That means they are enantiomers. So from a molecule, if the from a planar molecule, if the enantiomers are generated, then we can call both the faces as enantiotopic in nature. And similarly, from a planar molecule, if the diastereomers are generated, then we can call the both faces as diastereotopic in nature. So the example of the diastereotopicity is like this. In enantiomer, that means in enantiotopic faces, both are enantiotopic faces. In this molecular structure, if we add some chirality, additional chirality, you can see there is no chirality. That means center of chirality is present in the molecule because this is CH3 PHO. Only substituents are different and we are designating the plane but not any center. So if we think the molecule, so like this way, in this case you can see I have included an additional center of chirality. And keep in mind, in this type of reaction or in any molecular structure, if the chirality is fixed, is added here, that will be fixed in the initiation of the reaction as well as after the completion of the reaction. So that means now if we find the configuration of this chiral center, this is 1, this is 2, 3 and 4. So fourth group is in the backward position, means we will apply the 4b plus rule. We know 4b plus, this is the convention. And similarly the rotation of the rest of 3 groups is 1, 2, 3, that means the clockwise rotation. So this, that means it is plus for this rotation. Now combination of these two is actually plus, so the configuration is R. So in this molecule, the configuration or the chirality of this center remain fixed. That means from front face it is R as well as from the back face it is R. So now how we can designate that both the faces are diastereotopic in nature. So in this case, again we can write the molecule like this way. Say this is the C double bond O and I am designating the whole group as R star substituents. R star means that is the configuration of this center. So in this case we can consider is as R star substituent and this is the CH3. Now we designate two face and we have to numbering the substituents according to the CIP rule. So according to CIP, this will be the 1, this will be the 2 because this is a larger group and lots of substituents is there. So 2 and this will be the 3. Keep in mind this R remain fixed, the configuration remain fixed from the front face, that means from the right hand side as well as from the left hand side, because we have added this chirality and it is fixed. So you are a viewer looking the molecule from the right hand side, you can see the substituent like this 1, the 2 in the left hand side from this side which is R star and this is the 3. So the rotation is 1, 2, 3, that means C. Now as we have added the additional chirality in the molecule, so we have to consider that chiral designator. So here we will consider this phase as R C phase. This R for the center of chirality and Z designated the phase topicity. And similarly, if you are a viewer and looking the molecule from the left hand side, you can see that this is the 1, the 2 is now at the right hand side and it is the R star, and this is the 3. and the rotation here is the now clockwise. So that means it is the re phase. Now as R is present, so we will designate is R re. Now here you can designate the relationship between the two phases. If they are enantiotopic, we know RS both are mirror image and Rc both are mirror image. So that means if one configuration or one designator is as Rc or Rre, the other designation according to the mirror image should be Sc. But here you can find this is the Rre and this is the Rc. That means they are not mirror image with each other, no mirror image. So that means they are diastereotopic. That means you can also say after completion of the reaction, the nucleophile can attack from this side or it can attack from this side. So upon completion of the reaction, you will basically get the diastereomers from the attacking by the nucleophile of the both phases, and that's why these two phases is diastereotopic in nature. Okay. So this is the topicity of the reacting phases. Now apart from this, if we focus on the mechanism, we know that in metal hydride the H minus acts as a nucleophile. So before specify the example, let us focus the nucleophilic addition reaction in the carbonyl system. So in carbonyl system, so C double bond O R prime, or we can write it double bond O because this is the planar system. Say this is the R and this is the R prime. Now it is as a whole plane, this R is towards the viewer and this R prime is away from the viewer. Now here the nucleophile, we know this is the electrophilic center. That means upon by resonating structure we can show like this way. That means this is plus, this is minus, and this is the electronegative atom. So the nucleophile will attack here. So we can write that the negatively charged species electronucleophile will attack here and it will be the negative charge shifted on the electronegative oxygen. But no, this is not the actual approach of the nucleophile. The nucleophile will never attack perpendicular way to the carbonyl center. It will always follow an angle. So that means there will be the trajectory path. Here you can see the angle is 90 degree, which is not feasible. Why not feasible? Because we know this is the pi cloud of this center, or we can write like this way. So that means when the nucleophile will approach perpendicular way, then there will be the huge electrostatic repulsion. So that means it is not the feasible pathway. But if the nucleophile attacks in an angle, that means there will be a trajectory, then the electrostatic repulsion between this nucleophile and this nucleophilic electronic density and this pi cloud will be minimized or will be optimal. So that's why this trajectory having the angle 107 degree, this trajectory is named as the Bürgi-Dunitz trajectory. So basically this is the name of the scientist, and in X-ray diffraction pattern, this trajectory pathway has been found. That means the angle between the nucleophile and the electrophilic carbon is found 107 degree. How? So for a specific example, the proof is in this type of compound, we can in X-ray pattern or X-ray diffractometer, the pattern of the molecule or the orientation of the molecule when it will attack here, it was found like this way. Here you can see the ring was 10 membered ring. Say if I do the numbering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So in XRD pattern, by XRD diffractometer, the approach of the nucleophilic attack to this electrophilic center was found like this way. In this case, you can see this is not perpendicularly attacked to this center. It is attacked in some trajectory angle, and this angle was found 107 degree, and it is named as the Burgi-Dunitz angle. And it is true for any nucleophilic addition reaction. Now come to our point. That means, say for this example, you know both the phase is enantiotopic. Okay. So that means after completion of the reaction you will get the enantiomer. So in this case, if we reduce this carbonyl in presence of sodium borohydride, or you can use lithium aluminium hydride. So that means the mechanism is the hydride transfer. So how the mechanism proceed? Say in this case double bond O methyl. Say if I consider this is the sodium borohydride, this hydride will transfer here, it will become the negative charge, so that it can form O minus H methyl, and finally acidic workup, it will form the alcohol. So the reduction of the carbonyl will form the alcohol. But in this case, say our target is to form the one isomer, not the both isomer. But here you can see, or suppose in some reduction pathway, especially for the natural product synthesis or some drug molecule, say one isomer is active as a molecule, as a drug or as a natural product, this is the active, it has the activity, and the rest of isomer, it has no activity. But if the phases are enantiotopic, then both the isomer will form in equal amount. That means, because you know here both the phases are equally accessible by the nucleophile. So after completion of the reaction, here the hydride can attack from the top face, that means from the front face, or hydride can attack from the bottom face. So if the hydride attacks from the top face, you will get this isomer having chirality. Now the center is chiral, all the substituents are asymmetric, or you can get the OH at the top side if the hydride attacks from the back side. This is also chiral center. Now what is the relationship between these two? Basically they are enantiomer. You can see this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Here you can see that the group 1 is in the backward side, so 1b we know the convention is minus, and now the rotation of the rest of group 2, 3, 4, that is the anti-clockwise rotation, so that means minus. So minus into minus plus, so the configuration here it is R isomer or R alcohol. So similarly here you will get this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the fourth group is in the back, so 4b plus according to the convention, and we know 1, 2, 3, that is the anti-clockwise rotation, so that means minus. So minus into plus minus, so the configuration is S. As the both, so they are basically enantiomer, and you can see both the phase are equally accessible. So you will get 50% R isomer and 50% S isomer. So 1:1 racemic mixture is there. So how you will increase one isomer in higher amount? Then there is the requirement of the diastereo selectivity, because here you can see there is the no selectivity in between the isomer. So to avoid this discrepancy, if we add some kind of diastereotopicity in between these two phases, then you will get one isomer as a predominant one. That means now we have to include the diastereoselectivity in the carbonyl phases, and generally you have already seen that upon incorporation of some chiral residue in the molecular backbone, both the faces of the carbonyl becomes the asymmetric in nature. That means they are no longer enantiotopic, they becomes diastereotopic. So by applying this simple technique for for a specific example like this one, so sometimes the molecule is written like this way. Here it is carbon is tetravalent, the other bond is absent, means that is the hydrogen, and if it is absent, and you can see if the phenyl is in the beta bond, then the hydrogen will be in the alpha bond. Or similarly, if the phenyl is in the alpha bond, the scenario will be the vice versa. That means the hydrogen will be in the beta bond. So as per configuration, you have found this is the R. So now this is the additional chirality here. So in this case, we can see the molecule like this way. That means, say this is the C double bond O, this is our chiral center, and in this chiral center you can see the phenyl is in the top of the plane and the hydrogen is in the downward side, and this methyl, say this is the plane of this ring, or whatever it will be. But the other two substituents, the bulky substituents is in the top position and the least bulkier substituent is in the bottom position, and this is our CH3 group. So here you can see the asymmetry, that the bulkness is not equal. Okay. So if the bulkness is not equal, that means both the environment are not the same. So one phase is accessible, another phase is inaccessible or less accessible. Now here we are using the reducing agent as metal hydride, and we know the nucleophile here it is H minus will attack the carbonyl carbon, and you can see the size of the hydrogen. This is the least, a very small size. So if the size of the hydrogen or the hydride is very small, then there is no questions of the steric repulsion between the substituent at the chiral center and this hydride residue. So how we will consider the diastereoselectivity in this reaction? So now here you can see, if the hydride attacks from the top side, then it will remain at the top side, and simultaneously OH will be in the downward side. Or if the hydride attacks from the bottom side or below the plane, then you can see that the O minus or the OH now as the top side and hydrogen is in the bottom side. So if I draw the two scenario, here you can see hydride from top. The structure will be like this way, that means phenyl in the top, here hydrogen top, and this is the methyl. Similarly, this is the other group, the CH3 group of this, and here the hydride is attacking from the top side. So hydrogen will be in the top, so that means OH will be in the down. Or if the scenario is the opposite, that means hydride attacking from the bottom side. So the scenario will be this center, that means the position substituents of the both phenyl and hydrogen remain fixed. It will never change throughout the reaction because we have fixed the chirality, that is the chiral induction basically. So here you can see phenyl in the top, hydrogen down, and this is the CH3. And when the hydride will attack from the bottom side, the OH will be in the top side. Now in this projection or in this conformation, you can see that this is the bulky group and this is the least bulkier group. So there is less steric repulsion or basically no steric repulsion, or you can see both the bulky group OH and pH are anti with respect to each other to minimize the steric repulsion. But here the scenario is just opposite. In this case, there are huge steric repulsion in between this phenyl ring and OH ring. So in this reaction, our major product will be this one because to minimize the steric repulsion. So the insertion of the additional chirality which induce the reaction in such a way that after completion of the reaction it will form sterically less crowded molecule. This is our prime target. So this is the sterically less crowded molecule and this is sterically more crowded molecule. So as a result you will get there is the asymmetry between the two phases. So this will be the major and this will be the minor product. So in the flying wedge projection, that means like this way, how we can show this? Say sodium borohydride, the reducing agent. So that means H minus can attack from the top face or from the front side, or it can attack from the bottom face. Both faces are accessible for the hydride, but due to the steric crowdance of the or steric minimization of the product, one face attack will be more accessible. So if the hydride will attack from the top face, you will get hydrogen at the top, and final step is the acid workup obviously. The OH will be in the down or bottom or away from the viewer, and here phenyl is in the top and hydrogen in the down. And similarly the other pathway, if the hydride attack from the bottom face, we will get hydrogen at the away from the viewer and OH is towards the viewer. Okay, in this conformation you can see that both are in the same side, which is not favorable, and here you can see both are in the opposite side, that means in the anti direction. So this is the favorable. And what is the relationship between these two? This is basically R configuration. It is R, it is fixed. The chirality which is added in the molecule, it will be remain fixed, the configuration. We cannot change the configuration. So now you have to find the configuration of these two centers. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. Group 1 is in the backward, so 1b minus, and rotation of the rest of group 2, 3, 4. That means anti-clockwise rotation, so minus. So minus into minus, that means plus. So configuration of the new chiral center is the R. Similarly, the configuration of this new chiral center, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. We know the 4b plus and 1, 2, 3 anti-clockwise rotation, that means minus. So plus into minus, that is minus. So configuration will be S. So you can see this is RR, this is RS. They are no longer enantiomer, they are diastereomer. So both the faces is now diastereotopic, and you can see the new chiral center is generated from this achiral center, or better to say this is the prochiral center. Just like it is the source which can generate the chirality in the molecule after completion of the reaction, just like the drug and prodrug. Okay, so after the completion of the reaction, it can generate the new chirality in the molecule. So that is the prochirality or the prochiral center, and this is the major and this is the minor. An example of the diastereo selectivity. And this model is explained by the Prelog's rule. So this is the application of the Prelog's rule in asymmetric reaction or in any example of the asymmetric reduction or say other reaction. Generally we apply different model. One is the Prelog's rules, and this rule is basically deals with the steric factor. Another rule, you know, the Cramp's rule, and the last one is the Feldkinen model. Now in the last unit test, what I have found that most of you change the configuration of this chiral center, and this is due to the misconception in the reaction. So generally here you can see that pH is in the downward side. Sorry. And after completion of the reaction, you have found that this is one isomer, that means OH at the front side, and this is other isomer, that OH in the bottom or away from the viewer. Both are diastereomer. Now in the exam, whatever you have shown, when you change the position from here, you have written like this one. So this is pH, CH3, this is also OH, CH3. This is totally wrong interconversion. Why? Because you have changed the chirality of this center during this interconversion. This is the anti-conformation, and here you have drawn in the eclipse conformation, but still you have changed the configuration of this center. Just check it. Here the configuration is 1, 2, 3, and hydrogen is in the backward side. So 4B plus, and 1, 2, 3 anti-clock. So this is S. Now during this interconversion, if you have not changed the position of the OH, just keep it in the downward side of the bond. Here you can see this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. The fourth group is away from the viewer, that means 4B plus. Rotation is 1, 2, 3, that means clockwise rotation. So plus into plus plus R, that means you have already changed the configuration. Similarly, you have done the same error here. So what is the discrepancy here? In this case, this is apart from the Prelog's, Cramp's, whatever. It is just projectional analysis of the molecule. So in this case, this is the tricks. So if I write like generalized way, say this is A, this is B. In the molecular structure, you can see this is down, this is up. That means with respect to this carbon, I am considering this carbon. Or we can say this portion is the valley and this portion is the hill. So when you are doing the interconversion, that means you are exchanging the position of the hill and valley. Say here you want to keep the valley to the hill and want to hill to the valley. That means you want to change it like this fashion. Or say you want to change it like this fashion. Or another is this fashion. Now here you have to keep in mind that this is the wedge bonds, right? Flying wedge projection, or better to say this is a zigzag projection, zigzag pattern. Two flying wedge, two chiral centers, not only two, greater than two chiral centers are attached in a chain. So in this case you can see this bond is towards the viewer. When you are interchanging the position, the beta bond will be alpha and simultaneously the alpha bond will be the beta. That means both the position of the A and B will be exchanged when you are exchanging the hill and valley. during this exchange you can see that the configuration remain fixed, otherwise the configuration will be changed. Say if I change this value to the heel, now this is the heel, so the A will be in the beta bond, and similarly I have changed heel to the valley, so this beta bond will be in the alpha position. Similarly, say you want to keep this valley as in the valley, so if the valley remains valley or heel remains heel, then no change of the position of the bond, so that means you can write it like this way, say this is A, but when you are exchanging the position, this is from heel to the valley, so that means the position will be exchanged. Similarly here you have keep this position fixed B and make this valley to the heel. So here during this interconversion, the configuration of the chiral center will be never changed. You have to keep in mind, after formation of the product, the initial chiral center, the chirality or the configuration of the initial chiral center, that will remain fixed. This is our target. It will remain fixed throughout the reaction, and after completion of the reaction, the newly formed chiral center which is generated, if you want to exchange the position, then you have to also fix the chirality or the configuration during this interconversion. So here you can check that if it is hydrous OH and this is phenyl, this is the R and this is the S. So during heel to valley exchange, so now I am making this is heel and this is valley. You can see that pH is in the backward side, that means the hydrogen is the forward side. Similarly, here OH is in the backward side and hydrogen is in the forward side. So find the configuration here. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3 and this is 4. The second group is in the backward, so as per convention 2B plus and 1, 3, 4 clockwise rotation, that means plus. So plus into plus, this is R. So your interconversion is absolutely correct. Similarly, you can find this is S. So this is the basic misconception in your interconversion in the exam copy. Okay. So that is the example by using the Prelog's rule in the diastereoselectivity. Now the last example by applying this steric factor, that is the cyclohexanone system, the reduction of the cyclohexanone. Generally we know, say this is cyclohexane inside, this is the unsubstituted cyclohexane. If the cyclohexane is substituted, that means one substituent can remain in the axial position or it can remain in the equatorial position. Now you know, in between these two conformation, this is the stable, the equator, where the substituents retain at the equatorial position to minimize the Gauss-Butane interaction, but here is less stable. So in simple cyclohexanone reduction, C double bond O, in this case if you add sodium or lithium aluminum hydride, the hydride can attack from the bottom face or it can attack from the top face, because both the faces is anisotropy. So in this case you will get, if the hydride attack from the top face, the hydrogen will be in the top, that means in the beta phase, OH will be in the downward phase. Similarly, if the hydride attack from the bottom phase, it will be in the lower position and OH will be in the beta phase. In between these two, this is the measure, because to minimize the Gauss-Butane interaction. But here no question, and here the ratio you can find, that is the 51:49, not too much change in the yield of the product, almost comparable, but still this is the major one, or it may be the 60-40 whatsoever. Now in the cyclohexanone ring, if you add some sterically bulkier group, say at the 4th position, say here you are adding the tertiary butyl group. So during this reduction pathway, what will be the scenario? Now this is the additional steric bulkness in the cyclohexanone. Okay, so that means now both the faces is no longer enantiotopic. That means from the both side is not sterically equally accessible. So we will apply two different type of reagents. One is the lithium aluminum hydride, that is the sterically less bulkier, or we can use lithium aluminum tri tertiary butoxide hydride. Here you can see tertiary butoxide means this is the structure. That means sterically bulkier phase, that these are the tertiary butyl group, and this is the lithium aluminum hydride. Both are the hydride transfer reaction. So now we will apply the steric environment. In this case, generally we know that the OH, it is our target that the OH will be in the equatorial position after the reduction. So in the normal reaction, you can see that the lithium aluminum hydride is the less bulkier base. So if it is the less bulkier base, less bulkier metal hydride, then the steric repulsion, that means say aluminum hydride here, the steric repulsion between this group and this reducing agent will be less, because it is the less bulkier reducing agent. So that means hydride can easily attack here. Not only that, here after attacking by the hydride from the top side, you can see that the OH will be in the equatorial position after the reduction of the reaction. So that means by using this less bulkier base, you will get OH at the downward position and hydride will be in the beta position. So no additional Gauss-Butane interaction present here, and not only that, this group and this group are also in the anti position, no steric repulsion. So sterically this is favorable. But in case of the other one, that means the sterically bulkier base, lithium tri-tertiary butoxide hydride. In this case, you can see that aluminum this phase is accessible. That means the alpha phase of the cyclohexanone ring is accessible for the reduction or for the hydride transfer. Why? Because tertiary butyl group is reside at the beta phase of the cyclohexanone. So if the bulkier reagent or bulkier reducing agent is added or attacking from the beta phase, it will face the huge steric repulsion. So that means hydride transfer is not feasible, though the size of the hydride is small, but still due to the huge bulkness of this reducing agent, it cannot reside at the beta phase due to this steric acid hindrance. So it is bound to attack from the beta phase, or it is bound to attack the transfer hydride from the alpha phase, that means the down position. So in this case you will get the structure the OH is in the beta position and hydrogen is in the downward position, though they are not stable and there is additional Gauss-Butane interaction and it is sterically more crowded, though it is not stable, but due to this steric hindrance it is preferred to form this structure. So here it will be the major one, not the equatorial substrate product as the major one. So this is the utility of the steric bulkness in the enantiotopic phase. That means they can create now the diastereoselectivity in the reaction. So that is all for the today's discussion.